Okay, so welcome everyone, whether you're here or watching the replay. This is Morning Mindset with Michelle Dale. We've got a few things to share today as we're going into the run-up of One Sourcing Entrepreneur, which is the virtual assistant business program designed to take you from the very beginning of your business right through to six figures, multi-six figures, in 24 steps. So we've got the entrepreneur, morning Nikki, we've got the entrepreneur coming up for release on Saturday. If you want to check it out, it's virtualmissfriday.com/entrepreneur. And today we're talking about the steps that get you to where you need to be. We're going to be talking about step number 7 today. If you want to see any of the previous steps, you can look at some of the previous videos in this collection. And there's something else I want to share with you in Morning Mindset today. I was just watching a really interesting video. I often believe these things are presented to me for reasons. I don't think anything's a coincidence. So I'm going to share with you the information that I've just heard in this video before we go into daily accountability, which is why we're here. So first of all, let's check out the VA Entrepreneur. The VA Entrepreneur is all about strategy, structure, planning, making sure you fully understand the requirements and the order of the requirements of your virtual assistant business before you get started. And again, if you've already started, you would use this as a tool to go back and kind of piece together, look for the holes. What didn't I do? What have I been doing? You know, what have I got right? What have I got missing? That type of thing. So today we're talking about populating your platforms. So we're talking about online real estate yesterday, you know, getting all your stuff together. But then once you do that, you need to actually populate them with content and keep that consistent for a couple of reasons. You know, content's important and keeping things updated are really important because any potential leads that come into your business will likely be on some form of social media. And they will go and first of all look at your social media. It's just something like when people come across a business and they're thinking about working with a business, they first of all think about who is this person, who is this business, who's behind it. So they're going to go and look at your social media and just think about it yourself. Imagine if you're thinking about hiring a virtual assistant, for example, and you get a lead in for 2 virtual assistants. And pretty much they do pretty much the same things. And then you go to one virtual assistant and she's got her social media all updated. Her blog was recently posted on, you know, she seems pretty together and her content's really relevant and you're able to scroll through a few things. Oh my God. And you're able to see, okay, she's active, she's adding value, she's helping people, you know, like she's currently marketing, she's really looking for a great client. And then you go to the other VA who's similarly qualified and you see that they're on, the last post was a year ago on the blog and the social media hasn't been tended to. It's maybe like posted on once every couple of months if you're lucky, that type of thing. Where would you immediately be drawn to? You know, like where would you immediately think, I'm going to investigate one person or the other? And it's going to be the one where you feel the presence, where you feel the energy, where you feel the vibe of that person, where you feel life. That's it. You will go where the energy and the life is flowing. And this is the most important thing to understand. This is why we have consistency in our platforms, because we want to show there is life here. There is activity, there is energy in this business. And that will really go a long way. So that's what the premise is today. You've got to keep things updated. You've got to be able to plan your content out so you know exactly what you're doing. This is the stress-free model, by the way. If you're constantly thinking, oh God, it's Tuesday and I've got to post a blog post and I haven't thought about it or written anything, or That's just putting yourself under stress and pressure, and nobody wants that. We don't want that. So plan your content. Make sure you focus on creating the content, nice, good quality content. You know, it doesn't have to be loads and loads and loads. Don't get me wrong. You can do this very economically, very time economically. Then you've got to publish the content, you've got to think about the designs and how you're going to approach those, and then you've got to keep that consistency. So inside the entrepreneur, we've covered that in spades, and I've given you templates to follow, and I've given you examples of everything, and it's all inside there, inside the marketing section of the One Sourcing Entrepreneur. So that's something to look forward to at the end of this week. It's a real simple social media strategy, so effective, works really well, doesn't take a huge amount of time, but when someone's looking around for a VA and they come across you, you're going to be the one with the energy and the life and the vibrancy around their online real estate, around their social media platforms, and that's what's going to have the attraction effect. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to discuss in Morning Mindset. The second thing is I was just watching an incredibly interesting video, and again, these things come up on my feed. And I'm super intense about accountability and goals, and simply focusing on them, sticking to them until they come into reality. So oftentimes, you know, like I believe we get signs everywhere. You know, if you're particularly a booky person, you hang out in bookshops a lot, and you know, like you go to the library. Do we still have libraries in the UK? I don't know. But let's say you do that. And you're somebody who, like, you know, is very much attracted to books. You know, you might be shown books, like they might just pop out at you. And inside that book is something relevant to your goal, okay? You might be somebody who super watches TV, you know, like you might be a binge watcher on TV, Netflix, who knows? And suddenly a show might come up and it's like popping right in front of you and you're like, that's weird, you know, and sometimes it's completely irrelevant to anything you've seen before. Well, that happened to me. That happens a lot to me on YouTube since I've started doing this accountability, because I'm posting pretty much daily on YouTube. And this video popped out to me just before this session, and I thought, oh my God, I really have to watch this. And it was about a lady who had been suffering from cancer. It's a really long video, actually, but it was a lady who was suffering from cancer, and she essentially died. She slipped into a coma. All her family were told she won't make it through the night. And she had this out-of-body experience. And I don't really tend to watch these things. I've not really come across a lot of them, but this one really popped out at me. And I thought to myself, okay, I actually really genuinely resonated with this woman. I thought she was a lovely woman. She was clearly very honest. She didn't seem delusional or like she'd lost her marbles or anything. And she certainly wasn't like happy clappy or, you know, anything like that. And I just sat and listened to her, and she was talking very, very frankly about this out-of-body experience and, you know, what happens to you after death and how she met up with her father. And it was extraordinary. But there was one thing in particular that really stood out to me. Is she said she was a person that lived in fear in her physical body. She said she was like, for example, how she got cancer. She ate vegan, organic, you know, took loads of supplements, you know, exercised. She was the picture of perfect health. But a couple of years before, her best friend, or one of her best friends, got cancer, and she basically nursed her friend through a year of cancer, and then became so fearful of getting cancer it would consume all her thoughts. And within a year from when her friend died, she was diagnosed with heavy, very advanced stages of cancer. And she basically, it consumed her. She did everything possible in her mind to stop getting cancer because she was so afraid of it. And she then realized in the moment where she crossed over into this afterlife, shall we call it? I don't know what it was. She realized that her fear was fueling what was happening to her in her life. And I'm completely on board with this. I've seen this so many times, that you manifest your fears because you concentrate on them and think about them so much. And what she was given the opportunity and the choice, and she said she knew it 100%. She said she really didn't want to go back because she felt so great where she was in this sort of afterlife. But she was so attached to her husband, and apparently we're all here to fulfill a purpose, and her purpose was specifically conjoined to her husband, and if she didn't go back, then her husband wouldn't be able to fulfill his purpose. So she decided to go back, and she decided to go back knowing in full faith that she was literally in a coma in her final hours of death, and knowing that she would go back into her body and her cancer would completely clear up in no time at all, which she went back into her body and it did. But the message that she brought back with her was very, very simple. That we are here and we have to live our absolute best lives. We have to make fearless decisions because they will bring us joy, okay? We cannot be afraid of anything that we know is going to bring us immense joy. This is like so hard to do because we live in a society so fear-based at this point. And when we look at what is happening around the world, it's insane. You know, what's happening in Ukraine with the war, what's happening in Gaza. This is on my doorstep. I live in Egypt, and literally in a country next to me, there's genocide happening. People are going into mass graves, and it's horrendous. And then you sit there and you think to yourself, how could you even possibly move through life fearless when people are getting cancer and, you know, people are suffering and starving and all these things? You think, how can I possibly move through life fearless when all this is happening? And it's a really good question. And honestly, I don't have the answer other than being fully committed to the fear brings about these situations. The fear brings about these horrible things that happen to us in life. It's fear, and we are raised on fear a lot of the time. And in some people, they're able to brush it off, like not even think about it. They're the ones that are the most happy in life. In some people, they're able to control it. You know, like they know it's happening. They certainly feel worried about it, but they're not going to entertain that it's going to happen to them. And some people just get consumed by it. And every decision that they make in life is one based on fear. And the message today is, and this isn't even my message, this is something that I was given this morning to pass on to you, and I wholeheartedly believe it, is never make a decision from a place of fear. Because all that does is increase the fear in the world, you know? And you think to yourself, what can I possibly do? I'm only one person. And you are able to make such big changes in the world from this one decision. Because this one decision means you're not contributing to the fear that already exists and that's already creating these horrible circumstances. You are not doing that. And if you don't do that, then maybe your kids won't do that, and maybe your family will start to not do that, and maybe your friends will also come on board and not do that anymore, because they will see that you are being such an exception by living a life full of joy. And by choosing joy, you're stepping into a brilliant life, a fantastic life that you really want to live. Whatever that looks like, it doesn't matter. But you will have a ripple effect if you start this. And that we have had too much of a ripple effect of fear in this world. And we really all need to start spreading the message of the ripple effect of joy, and choosing joy, and doing anything you possibly can from the moment you wake up in the morning to the moment you go to sleep at night to bring about happiness in your life. And please don't make any more decisions based on fear. That's the message today. So thank you very much for listening. We're going to go into accountability now. I feel, I don't know, I feel like really sort of, I've got to rethink my accountability after watching that, and think, oh gosh, what do I need to change? What do I need to do here? But it was super powerful. Anyway, I will find a way to get that to you guys, the link to you guys. In fact, I'll put it in the chat here in the Morning Mindset. So if you want to come back to it, you can check it out in the chat in the next 24 hours. And that's it. We're into accountability now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're here in the room, I appreciate you so much. I love you guys, and I shall see you back here tomorrow for some more accountability. And don't forget, today in Virtual Co-working Space, we have our Sky Sanctuary tarot readings, and we also have a one sourcing group call where we're going to start unpacking the first level, which is foundation. So thank you so much, and I shall see you tomorrow. Before we begin, don't forget you can join me live online inside Virtual Co-working Space at www.virtualmissfriday.com/VCS. If you enjoy this session, give it a like. I'd love to hear from you, so write me a comment. And so you don't miss any updates, don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. So now we're going to look for the positive with our gratitude. First, we'll spend 1 minute thinking of the day before, thinking of all the things that happened, reflecting on work, interactions, relationships, memorable moments, and more. Now you'll write one thing down minimum that you're grateful for. You can, of course, write down more. Something good, something that went right. A small moment or a big win. The more you search for things to be grateful for, the more you will experience things to be grateful for. Now we're going to read out your goal. Make sure your goal is written down in a journal or somewhere you can easily access it. Read your goal now, ideally out loud, and commit to this goal. Believe it will happen. And by reading this daily, the universe knows clearly what your goal is, and the things begin to shift in the direction of your goal. Follow your instincts when this happens by taking action. Now you need to see your goal in visualization. Spend this minute thinking about the goal in your mind. See yourself taking steps towards the goal, or even better still, see yourself having already achieved the goal. Close your eyes and go there. Step into the feeling, step into the place, step into the accomplishment. And finally, it's time for your most important task. Set this task for today and make it relating to your goal.
This could be something small like sending an email, recording a video, or making a phone call, or it could be bigger. Either way, one task a day is one step forward, and those steps will add up. Do what you can from where you are now. Set the intention, and the action will carry you towards your goal. Well done you for completing your daily co-create session. Have a fantastic day ahead, and I'll see you next time.